Hi, I'm Claire. Welcome to my channel Clarobobbins and welcome to this week's episode of Friday Sews. So if you didn't catch my vlog midweek about two Lunar Lapin heirloom dolls I made for the rabbits, the rabbity hairs, I think that's how Sarah Peel, the designer, puts it in, rabbity hairs. Oh, love it. Yeah. If you didn't catch my my vlog about that, I'll put a link in somewhere up here. I'll certainly put a link in below as well in the information box. So what else has been happening in the sewing room this week? I've got my Holyoke dress progress to show you. Little sneak peek of the muslin here. How's that been going? More information. And when is a pattern haul not a pattern haul? So yeah, I'll tell you a little bit more about that and some other chit chat, sewing chit chat, and a little bit of life. Hope to see you in just a moment. Welcome back. So let's get straight on with the Holioke dress, which I started ages ago in this lovely fabric. I didn't start it in the fabric. Oops, a daisy. Excuse me. There we go. I didn't start it in this fabric, but this is my Fabric Wheel of Fate fabric that you may remember from my last spin. It's a beautiful rayon linen blend I bought it from Minerva. Can't remember who the manufacturer is. Bought it in the sale maybe last year, maybe the year before. It's been in my stash a while, and I have wanted to make a lovely, but kind of not floaty, but a lovely summer dress from it. And I wanted to make, I've had this pattern for ages. I've had this pattern at least 2 years, and the fitting of the bodice has just put me off making it. And I can kind of, now I'm doing it, I can kind of see why. So let me just bring Edith over a little bit so you can see where I'm up to. So I've made 2 muslins, and here we go. This was the first muslin I made. They're both fairly similar, to be honest. This was the first muslin I made, and I pretty much made I did a tiny bust adjustment, full bust adjustment on the cups, just to take it, just a whisker over the GH cup size for Cashmerette. So what I did, I converted my sloper to a princess seam sloper, and I did that following the instructions that Jenny Rushmore has in her vlog, and I'll link that below as well. So if that's something you're interested in. It is accessible through her site. You don't have to be a member or anything. You can get it on the vlog area, so through the Cashmerette website, but I think I can do a link to that for you. So yeah, this was my first muslin, and you can see by the shape of it, with it being quite strappy, it's not terribly forgiving in the fit department. You know, you need to have the fit fairly spot on, otherwise you're going to get gaping and that sort of thing. So I've made it up in the size 14 GH cup, but I've done a tiny full bust adjustment. It's only about probably 6 millimeters on either side, but on both sides of the curve. So that gives me a little over a centimetre on the seam here, on both sides, and that's come up quite nicely. The other issue I have is I always have to move the bust point down. So in a darted bodice, I always have to move that down about 3/4 of an inch to get the darts tip me in the right place. And the same is true with a princess seam, to get the curve in the right place for me, so it's not too high up. I need to add 3/4 of an inch. So originally I decided, being clever, didn't work. I wasn't as clever as I thought I was. I thought I'd just extend the strap by 3/4 of an inch. Simples. So I did that, and I could see my bra. It was fairly obvious that was going to be the case, wasn't it? So so I had to go back to the drawing board. So I went back to my original pattern piece that I'd traced and redrawn, because I knew I was going to have to fiddle with it. And this was my second muslin, and on this one I took a slice across the top of here. I did it actually just where there are 3 notches, one here, one here and one here, that you line up on both sides of the pattern piece. So I did it just by, I think just above the top notch. So it didn't alter the top notch. I think that's where I did it, pretty sure. So that gave me a line where I could extend across here. So I did a slice across here and then the same across here. And that enabled me to extend the bodice top without affecting this shape. I just then had to sweeten this curve. And the only other thing I had to do, sorry, excuse me, messing with my microphone. I'm hoping you can see this okay. Because in this area I'm quite flat because I'm an older lady and my bust is a little bit lower, then I have to be careful that I don't get too much ease there. So yeah, whereas I'm okay if I've got a bit more ease here. So I just sweetened this line so any extra fullness came in here and then back down again. So it looks a bit odd on here because Edith, bless her, isn't the same shape as me. I have done some padding on her. I need to spend a bit of time and do a bit more. But when I wear that muslin, I'm actually quite pleased with how that's worked and how it looks on me. So I've started now on the actual making of the dress. I've got the all the interfacing on all of the facing pieces. Of course, you have to alter all the facing pieces as well. So I was really careful not to. I've kept this very top bit. I'll just bring it back over here and you can see. I've kept this top bit the same size. This is still the GH. I've only added the full bust. I've brought it in from about here and I've brought it in gradually to sweeten that curve. So here it's the maximum fullness and then that comes through there, and then I just allowed that to continue because I can add a little bit into the waist, and the waist is elasticated at the back, so I'm not worried about that. That will be fine. I've got quite a chunky waist anyway, so if I've got a bit more ease there, that will work well for me. So the facings are not altered at all. I had to alter the back. I had to make sure the side seams were the same length, and I've done that, and I'm pleased with the muslin. And because it was a full muslin, so really back to redrafting pattern pieces from my adjusted sloper, I haven't made a wearable toile. I have gone back and done it as a muslin, and I needed 2 of those. Now when I do a muslin to work something out, I use calico, which is a bit unforgiving, so you'll see lumps and bumps here that won't happen in the nice fabric, so don't worry if it has been pressed, but yes, it's not really that you're after, it's getting the fit around the front. So when you use calico, if you've done a sloper, you'll know exactly what I mean. When you use calico, you don't need to stay stitch, you don't need to finish anything, you don't need to interface anything. That's just machine basted down the front. All you need to do is just get it together and just try it on and see how it fits. So there's absolutely no finishing on any seams, so it's a really quick process. And if you're doing, because I knew I was only making slight adjustments on the front here, I knew I could just sew them in my regular, on my regular stitch, on my regular machine stitching. But if you were, you know, if you were trying to get maybe a side seam adjustment, you could use a basting stitch. You can undo it so quickly. So it's a really good way to go if you're not sure, because you can run up a muslin really quite quickly. It's the time adjusting the pattern pieces that takes the time, I find. I think once you've got your pattern pieces drawn, quickly cut them out. Again, you can be quite rough and ready. You don't need to be, you need to be exact on the bits you're trying to fit, but you know, the length of the bodice doesn't matter, whether the bottom quite matches doesn't matter. So yeah, you can be quite speedy about that. And then it's just the actual, so for me, I was interested particularly in how this front seam fitted the profile of my bust. That was the key issue for me. I pretty much knew it was going to fit at the back, pretty much knew it was going to be wide enough around the circumference. It was, you know, whether or not this cup shape hit me on the correct part of my apex, whether or not my bra showed, whether or not there was gaping under the arm, and because of that, it's quite important to make the full bodice, because if you've just got the front, you can't tell if it's going to gape here, and to make it the right length. So they were important bits, but the rest of it, the top, the bottom, the facings don't matter. So don't waste time sewing it beautifully and finishing it. Get it together. I wanted to make sure that the arm straps were the right size, so I went back to my original straps. I think I just unpicked them. I'm trying to remember if this was muslin number 3. I think this is muslin number 3. I think that's muslin number, this is muslin number 2. That's muslin number 3. So my original one, I'd used these straps. And I think the calico, pound fabrics have calico, it's about £2 a metre, so it's really cheap. And I chuck it in the wash so it's clean to wear and it softens it a little bit. It's kind of a medium calico, it's not a heavyweight calico, but it's really forgiving. And then when you're finished, you know, you go in the garage for dusters or whatever, rags, you know, use it for mopping up spillages, things that, yeah, so it can be used again. Or it can be sent for rags for recycling. So I like it for, you know, polishing silver. Not that I have much silver, but, you know, polishing, you know, brasses and things like that. Cleaning the car, yeah. So it can be used again. Okay, so I'm pleased with that. I've started it in the fabric. I have all the fabric cut out, it's all interfaced. I've done my facing the facings, so I've stitched it, turned it, and then fused it, and I've done that on all my front fused bits, apart from the very first skirt face I did, and I forgot to do that. What am I like? So everybody makes mistakes, we're not perfect. I've got it all ready, I thought about facing the facing, and then I just ironed it on. And I did think to myself, if it'd been something small, I might have considered recutting it, but it's the whole skirt front. So I just thought, well, you know what? I'll just overlap that bit. Oh dear, Claire, what are you like? Yes, we all have moments. We all have our moments. So that's my Holyoke dress. So I think the bit I've got left to do is actually the simplest bit. It's just sewing it up. I won't be French seaming this. If I was doing it in a beautiful silk or something, I'd French seam it. But because it's a linen blend, I'm going to just overlock this. And I'm hoping that the rest of it will fit okay, because I've not dwelled that. I'm pretty sure, because the bodice fits me, I think it'll be fine. So that's it, that's my Holyoke dress. And yes, it's autumn in the UK. It's been absolutely freezing this week, really frosty. We've had frost on 4 mornings this week, which is quite unusual for September, I have to say. Not unheard of. I mean, yeah, British weather's British weather. You have to live here to get used to the fact it changes every 5 minutes. This morning was the most glorious day. We've had beautiful, warm, sunny, still, gloriously bright days with a frosty start. And it's just gone grey now. So it might rain later, but it's been chilly. Chilly at night, chilly in the mornings, beautiful during the day. So it's been nice enough to wear sandals. I've been getting a lot of wear from my Ilford jacket that you will have seen from the blog I did following my collaboration with Sweet Pea Green. So my Ilford jacket is just the perfect layering piece. So on Wednesday evening, when it was Wives Group, our local community women's group, where we have a speaker every month, at Wives Group, I wore my new Jenna caftan and my new Ilford jacket, and I felt very put together. But I was able to wear sandals because it was actually warm. Even at night it was warm. So it's the perfect weather. I have a little pair of boots that I can also alternate, that are a navy with some green in. So they go nicely with it. But yeah, even this morning I popped out to the shops. I popped my Ilford on and it looked great. So I was really pleased with that. So I need to make another one. So when is a pattern haul not a pattern haul? Ta-da! Scary, eh? So these are all patterns that I own, some of which it's a second printing of them. There's only one new pattern here, but I've had them A0 printed. Now you'll remember that I'm very fond of the Vernon shirt, and I've had it printed again. And I've had it printed again because I want to try this version, which is View B. I've made this version, and I made it in, you won't be able to see, but I made it in a rayon, a tencel blend, meat milk tencel that I bought very cheaply in the sale. It's that lovely terracotta-y colour. It's really nice. And I made it, it has a stripe, and I made the Vernon. Now, I don't know if I've shrunk it. It has been washed. I don't remember it being quite as short in the sleeve and quite as snug around the shoulders when I made it. So I need to actually check my measurements. But I've had the pattern reprinted so that I can make this version here. And I may also, I've got this version printed off in the PDF version, printed off in a size 14GH. I've had my pattern pieces printed in the 14 and the 16, which would give me that little bit more ease around the shoulder area as well, and I wouldn't have to do a full bust adjustment with that because the size 16 fits. And I don't know whether I might prefer a little bit more ease in that woven garment, even though my sloper is a good fit. Yeah, for a shirt, I don't quite like if it's a woven. I quite like it to be slightly loose and not too tight. So I need to look into that. I've also been working out at the gym, so it is possible that my back and shoulders are a bit more full, because that is an area that I've been working on. You'd think that, wouldn't you think, I've lost some fat, wouldn't you think that it would go from where the fat is? No. Where's it gone off? My hips and my legs. Have I got much fat on my hips and legs? Well, no, not really. So my trousers feel baggy, baggier. So yeah, the Vernon shirt. So a reprint, and it's nice to have the big booklet, because my booklet is the little black and white one. So I had they're only £2 to get this fab booklet, and I can keep this, you know, forever. So that's my Vernon shirt that I've had printed. And then you might remember from my Stitch Fabrics haul, this is all Vernon shirt, let me just, yeah. From my Stitch Fabrics haul, I was undecided whether or not to make the Ilford jacket or the Pattern Emporium one. And I've spent a bit of time looking at the Pattern Emporium downtown jacket, and I had the pattern already. I bought it when it came out because I liked it. So it's been kind of on the back burner, waiting for me to do something with it since it came out. I bought it when it was released, I think. I like Pattern Emporium patterns. I've got a couple that I've used already, but I've also got a couple that I haven't made up yet. So I had some great feedback. So if you wrote a comment on my vlog last week about should I go Ilford or Pattern Emporium, thank you so much. It's really helped me decide which. and I've decided it's going to be worth trialling this in the green cotton drill I got from Sherwood's, which I kind of bought to make this in anyway. And I had a look at the video on the website. Aren't they good? I've not looked at the video before. It's brilliant. So that kind of sold me. I love the big cuffs. And I bought the regular fit of the downtown because I'll have to do the full bust adjustment, and you get the full bust pieces with this pattern, so it's brilliant for that. So I figured that would be enough fullness for me without having to go kind of up. I could always go up a size if I want more room. The cuffs and the shoulder, you get a bit more room in the shoulders, but the cuffs stay the same. I think that's what she says on the video. So I'd bought the standard version, the regular fit, and I'm thinking of making it hip length, so length number 2, and I'm thinking of putting the pleat in the back so I get the fullness in the back, because I like that in the Ilford. So that's my plans for this. So I've had this printed off as well. This came really quickly, flamingo prints, back in a jiffy. I'm really pleased. But yes, I was so impressed with the information on the video on the vlog. So that's the downtown jacket ready to be cut out. And when I finish the Holyoke, I will get on with that. Now, while I was looking at the video, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? While I was looking at the video, she had a beautiful white linen version that was just exactly what I'm looking for with my white linen top. So that really sold it to me. And she had the getaway shorts on with it. And I thought, oh, I've got to have those shorts. I bought the shorts pattern. So this is a pattern haul of one. When's a pattern haul? Not a pattern haul. When you've had them all printed. Feels like a pattern haul. Costs like a pattern haul. Yeah, so I did buy the getaway shorts. And I've had those printed. So I just had them printed in one size because it was fairly clear from the website which size I should go for. So there we go. And then my final print off, was it? Yeah. I bought this when this was released. It's the Be Mine balloon sleeve top. And I quite like this. It's not dissimilar to the Rhapsody top. It's a little bit similar, it's slightly different shape, and a much simpler neckline. So I thought I'd have a go at that as well. So I've had that printed off. Not quite sure when I'll make that, but I thought, you know, while I'm at it, I'll get it printed off. So that's my, it's kind of like a pattern haul. And it's just so nice to have had them A0 printed, because normally I'm printing off and sticking together, and you know, it can take me, it's a big pattern, it can take me a couple of hours, kind of half a day to get them printed up, stuck together before you even start cutting the pattern out. So recently, because it's been almost exclusively new patterns that I've been making, I've been having them A0 printed, which I feel a bit lazy about. I haven't totally done it. That cost me, including postage, it was £37, plus the cost of the pattern. So it's not a cheap way of doing it. But then, you know, the booklets you get with the Pattern Emporium are really detailed and long, and to have them all printed out beautifully in colour, you know, these are like £2, £3, £2.50, £3, so really good value. And I'm really pleased with the quality of the printing. I think it's worth it. You know, time's money, isn't it? So when is a pattern haul? Not a pattern haul. When you just had them printed. So I'm very pleased and quite excited about doing that. So what else has been going on in the sewing room? Well, let's have a look. I've had the opportunity, as I said, to wear my new Me Maids, which is always nice. I did a little bit of repairing for Mr. Bobbins. I repaired a polo shirt that I made for him, and I've done one or two other little bits and pieces of tidying things up. I haven't finished any garments, but I did finish the lunar lapins, but you know, that's the separate video. And yeah, I've just enjoyed being in here sewing really, and I do enjoy the process of getting some success fitting a muslin, so that's all quite rewarding. I feel like I've kind of got over the hill with the Holyoke. I think I'm on the downhill slope now. Before long I might have my next fabric wheel of fate made. Let's hope so, eh? So yeah, life. Oh, we went to see the new Downton Abbey film, which was released, I think it was released a couple of weeks ago. It was still quite busy when we went, and we took Nigel's 92-year-old mum, Marjorie. Marjorie, if you're watching, hello. Marjorie's a fan. So yeah, we took Marjorie and we had the most lovely afternoon. We went to the Curzon Cinema in Knutsford. It's a lovely kind of oldie worldy type cinema. It's been there. It's not an oldie worldy cinema, but it has a quite an elegant feel to it. It's got lovely big seats. It has little tables on the seats. You can get a glass of wine to take in with you if you like. You know, it's a really nice cinema. It's small, it's local. Probably our favourite cinema. So we went there. We've been watching and enjoying the Women's Rugby World Cup over the last couple of weeks, Mr. Bobbins and I. So we've been doing quite a bit of watching of rugby, and we're looking forward to the final. Whoever wins, I think England might have their work cut out tomorrow, because yeah, it was the first half of the game against France. The semi-final was, yeah, that was quite interesting, but they kind of sorted it out by half time. So very much looking forward to that. We have some friends actually going to Twickenham to watch, so I'm a bit envious of that. But yeah, so life, and that's it. It's been a very busy week. Yeah, beekeeping stuff. We had a bee meeting. It's been a meeting week this week with bee meeting last week, and then a busy weekend, and then wives group this week, cinema this week. On Sunday it's our 5th Cheshire Sewing Social at Smallwood Village Hall. So if you're interested in that, you can find us on Cheshire Sewing Social Facebook. Send us a message, and we meet at the end of every month. So there are limited places available, and we are pretty full. Last week we were sold out. We've got a couple of places this week, but yeah, it's doing very well, thank you. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link below to the Facebook page. Yeah, so that's it for me really. A busy week, a busy weekend coming up, and yeah, looking forward to a bit more sewing. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Lovely to see you. If you've lasted this long, well done. If you have enjoyed it, please feel free to give me a like, and it would be lovely if you subscribed. And that's it from me, and I hope to see you next week for another Friday Sews. Happy sewing. Bye bye.